Welcome back to the Kudlow Report. I'm Larry Kudlow. At the top of this half hour, President Obama announced his new energy security plan today. Take a listen.
My administration is encouraging offshore oil exploration and production as long as it's safe and responsible. Now, today we're working to expedite new drilling permits for companies that meet these higher standards. We're also exploring and assessing new frontiers for oil and gas development from Alaska to the mid and South Atlantic states, because producing more oil in America can help lower oil prices, can help create jobs, and can enhance our energy security.
All right, now that all makes it sound like the president has seen the light on how to unleash the energy industry, and it would be a great boon to fuel the economy and create jobs. Well, maybe not quite so fast. Let's go to CNBC contributor John Kilduff. He's partnered with Again Capital. He has a reality check on President Obama's energy speech. Hello, John.
Good evening, Larry. Let's take a look at this map here that highlights America's bounty of oil and natural gas production. Here in the Gulf of Mexico, the rich resources that we're all familiar with. Here in the Northeast, through Appalachia, oil and natural gas, shale natural gas, the big breakthrough that we've seen. And the nation's middle, from top all the way to bottom, really a line of oil and natural gas fields that are just waiting to be taken. These are already in production. Today's speech by President Obama was a trust but verify moment for this bounty, though, Larry. You heard him say that new drilling in the Gulf of Mexico needed to be safe and reasonable. How safe? How reasonable? How high the barrier to entry? The permits that are already being held by the industry, the incentives there are use it or lose it type of situation for them, not one to get them going sooner. And this fracking of natural gas that we're talking about, that's in the EPA's crosshairs, Larry, to be regulated. So we don't know what will happen there. Also up in Alaska, notably ANWR, not on the table. And we haven't updated the seismics there in many, many years. That should be done, and that should be on the table. And finally, Larry, we do have a measure of energy supply stability. If you look at our top suppliers of oil, Canada at the top of the country, Mexico to our south, Saudi Arabia, Venezuela, and Nigeria are also big suppliers of oil to us. So it's obvious that oil and natural gas have to be part of the plan, but it's a trust but verify moment, Larry.
John, trust but verify. You made a fascinating distinction. The president, in our little clip, mentioned Alaska, but you're saying ANWR is still off bounds.
Larry, it was notable that he did not mention it at all. And like I said, they haven't updated the seismics for ANWR in many, many years. And we've had so many advances that there could be a bounty of oil there that I think needs to be put in play. That area needs to be put on the table. ANWR needs to be at the front of the discussion.
All right, John Kilduff, thank you very, very much. All right, with respect to President Obama, I say unleash the great American energy industry. It'll fuel the U.S. economy. It'll also put millions of people back to work. So drill, 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 or not drill, drill, drill? That is the question. We have Texas Republican Senator Kay Bailey Hutchison. Steve Forbes is chairman and editor-in-chief of Forbes Media. Representative Jay Inslee, Democrat from Washington State, and soon to be joined, I hope, by Sierra Club Executive Director Michael Brune. Senator Hutchison, let me get your first take. On the surface, if you read through the speech, it seems to be a change in Obama energy policy with respect to drilling, where there's been a virtual moratorium. What is your take?
I read the fact sheet that the White House put out. It's unbelievable that he would say we are encouraging drilling in the Gulf of Mexico if it's safe. Well, they've issued 6 permits since last October, 6. We are virtually at a standstill in the Gulf of Mexico. It is the second largest capability that we have to get oil and natural gas from our own country. Alaska is the first. You mentioned Alaska, and I was so glad that he brought it up. ANWR is an area the size of the state of South Carolina. Because of all the new technologies, the part that would be drilled is an area the size of Dallas Love Field Airport. Right. It is a tiny part because we have the technologies that will protect all of the wildlife, all of the tundra. It's a grassy plain. There are really no water.
So let's go
no
there.
Trees.
Let's just go there. Let's drill, drill, drill.
It would provide for us, Larry, the same amount that we import from the Middle East, from Saudi Arabia, for 65 years.
Wow.
Every day.
That's a great factoid.
Every day.
Congressman Jay Inslee, 65 years of imports from Saudi Arabia. Isn't that pretty compelling? And what about the idea from our John Kilduff that this whole speech is about trust but verify? You buy it? You were at the speech today, weren't you?
I was, and I think the president's on the beam. We're going to continue to drill for oil and gas, and we are doing that. We have the largest production of oil and gas since 2003 under the Obama administration. But here's what this president did today. He recognized Economics 101 that I studied when I took my economics degree at the University of Washington. There is a law of supply and demand. And the fact of the matter is that the supplies of gas and the price is determined on a world market, and that supply is going to be largely plateaued, if not declining, even if we drill at the Washington Monument and Yellowstone National Park.
The supply of natural gas.
Let me finish, Larry. The demand is going up dramatically. We have to get additional supplies beyond oil and gas. If we are stuck in this debate about oil and gas and where we're going to drill, we're going to let the Chinese eat our lunch in solar power and electric cars and biofuels. And we're doing great things out there, unleashing true innovation, which is our long-term resource. So you betcha, I think we're doing the right thing to grow our supplies of energy beyond oil and gas.
Congressman, didn't mean to cut in. I was going to explain. When you say we're running out of the supply of natural gas, sir, we are producing now so much natural gas with the tremendous technological breakthroughs through these shale rock deposits and so forth, as our own John Kilduff put, it's practically covering the middle of America on up through the northeast sector of America. Sir, we're going to be exporting natural gas. We have so much of it. We have more natural gas than Saudi Arabia has oil. We will probably run out in about 300 years, and maybe by then we can figure out how to do a battery car.
That's right, and we're going to, in fact, increase natural gas production, and that is happening under the Obama administration. The point I want to make about is this, and you might want to take a look at a book I thought was very interesting. It's called Your World is About to Get Much Smaller, and it points out that we have only 2 to 3% max in the United States of oil supplies. We use 25% of the world's oil, and those you know, the Creator is not making a lot more oil pools, and yet the Chinese, the most dangerous place to stand right now is in front of a Chinese auto dealer. They now have 3 times as many cars in Beijing as they did 5 years ago, and when that demand hits the market, we have got to find additional supplies in addition to oil and gas.
All right.
Yes, we have to do short-term oil and gas, but I got to tell you, and by the way, Larry, this isn't, you know, like 20 years from now. The Chevy Volt was the car of the year this year. It's expensive now, but that price is going to come down like everything else. So we got good opportunities.
Yeah, I think they've sold a grand total of about 200 of them. But
you get in line, but you have to get in line for it.
All right, well, get in line. All right. You're terrific, Mr. Inslee. Let me go to my friend Steve Forbes. Hey, Steve, what did you think of the speech today? Trust but verify. Do you believe that Mr. Obama will allow more drilling for oil and gas? And B, he had the usual emphasis on biofuels and wind and solar energy, which don't strike me as profitable or economical. Where are you coming out on this debate?
Yeah, Larry, we are going to need more oil and gas, and the supply is here in the United States. You mentioned gas. We are going to be a major exporter in a few years if we allow it to happen and EPA and others don't block it. And offshore, the drilling has been absolutely incremental. Very, very slow. So again, it's about details. I mean, this is a president who gave a State of the Union address, sounding many parts of it like Ronald Reagan, yet there's no change on spending, no change on entitlements, no change on regulations, and really, well, aside from rhetoric, no real change on energy. So fine rhetoric, but where's the beef, as they used to say?
Well, Michael Brune, okay, I watched the speech live this morning. We were covering it. I thought there was a change of tone regarding drill, 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 Michael, and I want to know if you have the same view, and do you agree with the president on drill, drill, drill?
And trying to please a lot of parties. What I appreciated hearing from the president was an actual plan to begin to reduce our oil dependence. As he said, every president since Nixon has talked about getting off of oil, but this is the first time where we have a very clear plan with a clear set of goals for how we're going to make a significant dent in the problem. The other thing I need to say is that The one energy source that creates more jobs, more than oil, more than gas, is clean energy. And in Iowa, we're already at 20% wind. In California, we just passed legislation yesterday that'll get us to 33% clean energy. It's the fastest growing job sector in the West. So not only is it plentiful, but it's also profitable, and it's going to become mainstream pretty soon. And when it does, all of these debates and this bickering about whether we should drill more in the Gulf or drill more in Anwar will seem like relics of the past.
Senator Hutchison, do you buy that wind is the future and that's the biggest job creator out there?
You know, I am for all of the solar energy, the wind energy, the clean energy is wonderful. It's just not enough to fuel our economy. That's the problem. And Steve Forbes talked about the regulatory environment. It's not status quo. It is much worse than that. And one of the things that's on the Senate floor tomorrow is the new regulations of greenhouse gases by the EPA because they couldn't pass their cap and trade legislation. And that is going to raise the price of gasoline 50%. It's going to raise the price of natural gas 75% over the next 20 years.
Well, the EPA stopped the drilling. I mean, that is an issue that was not attended to by the president's speech today. The EPA can stop the drilling.
Well, they say they can. Larry, I don't think they have the authority to do it. I think they are making it up as they go. But it's going to cost us so much more. Even if they tried to stop it, they're going to increase the cost of gasoline at the pump. And if you're out there, I filled up my pickup truck 2 weeks ago and it was $60. I mean, you can't build our economy if our fuel and energy costs are that high.
Congressman Inslee, on this point, I mean, the consumers are in full revolt. They're in economic revolt. They're in political revolt. Undoubtedly, that accounts for this speech today. But I want to ask you this. Natural gas, can we figure out how to put the steam into the cars, how to turn liquefied and put it into the cars? I mean, to me, the natural gas story is what could really deliver us out of all this quagmire with low prices. It's so cheap, natural gas. When will we be able to use that in cars and buses and trucks and all the rest? That, to me, is an essential question.
Yeah, I think that natural gas is one of our three great competitors and opportunities for getting this additional second generation fuel for our cars and trucks. There's natural gas, which has a reduction of about 30% greenhouse gases and works. There is electricity, which is now coming on like gangbusters, and I'm very pleased that even though the senator voted against the stimulus bill, that we now have the beginning of a lithium-ion battery manufacturing in the industry in the United States, first plant in Holland, Michigan, hiring laid-off American auto workers to send those overseas to sell them to China. So we have gas, electricity, and we have biofuels. And I'll tell you who's not waiting to move forward on biofuels. That's the U.S. military. The U.S. military wants about half of its transport in the next decade to be on biofuels, including advanced forms that don't use so much fertilizer and water, even an algae-based. We had the first plane, an F-18, called the Green Hornet, fly on algae-based biofuels. That's a pretty good deal. So yes, natural gas is one of the competitors.
We will see. Drill, drill, drill. Trust but verify. I'm flat out of time.
Innovate.
Senator Kay Bailey Hutchison, it's a pleasure to have you on the set. Truly. Steve Forbes, thank you. Congressman Inslee, Michael Brune, many thanks, everybody. Coming up on Kudlow, who's paying for the lifestyle of the rich and famous of the world's dictators? You are not going to like this next one, but we are.